A conversation today on the role of climate tech in the race to net zero. I think there's a firm appreciation that the rapid deployment of tech and innovation are necessary to reach net zero. So really excited to have this conversation today. I'm Landon Darrence. I'm the Senior Director of the Global Energy Center at the Atlantic Council in Washington, D.C. And I'm thrilled to be joined today by two dynamic leaders that are leveraging technology to accelerate an emissions-free future. Her Highness Sheikha Shama is the Executive Director of UAE Independent Climate Change Accelerator, where she is merging her business acumen and commitment to advance a sustainable future to develop national climate action strategies, build a circular carbon economy, and forge pathways for gender balance across the world. Her Highness is also CEO of the Alliance for Global Sustainability and co-founder of Aurora 50. I'm also excited to have Kara Hurst joining us, VP for Worldwide Sustainability at Amazon. In this role, Kara and her team are executing on Amazon's commitment to the Climate Pledge, overall sustainability, operations, responsible supply chain management, many other things. And we're very excited to have both of you today. I think we have a great audience here, and before we jump into the firm conversation around climate technology, we have many young innovators in the audience today, people that are inspired about your journeys. And I'd love to start off the conversation and kind of how you got here and what's inspired you to work on these issues.
Thank you for your kind introduction. So basically, the world is facing climate change on a growing level. My region, the Middle East, weather is, the temperatures are rising 4 times faster than the global average. This summer, we've seen devastating floods in Pakistan. In the UAE, in July, we've seen flash floods. And so, due to the urgency of climate change, I decided to set up the UAE's independent climate change accelerators with the aim of convening the public sector and the private sector to advance and accelerate the green economy. When it comes to the environment and conservation, it runs in my blood. My great-grandfather did so much for the environment, and so I feel it is my national duty to continue his work and my grandfather's work. I grew up in a large, loving family in Abu Dhabi. I went to Zaid University and I did my degree in business. And when I graduated, I decided that I would go on and set up a business because I felt that the environment and business were interconnected. And so I set up Alliances for Global Sustainability, a for-profit company that develops large infrastructure projects, but also provides consultancy services. I then decided to further my studies, and I went back and did a master's at Cambridge University in sustainability leadership. And now I'm fully committed to climate change and accelerating the green economy. And I feel that one key area that I'm also passionate about is to see more women on corporate boards. And so in 2020, I co-founded Aurora 50, and we've now started to see more women on boards. We've seen publicly listed companies that are mandated to have at least one woman on their board. Thank you.
Kara.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I was telling Her Highness that I'm so incredibly inspired by all that you've done and your lifetime of commitment to sustainability. at Amazon, we also see a responsibility and an obligation with the resources that we have and the size and scale of our company to operate responsibly, and more than that, to bring innovation and what we know in technology and in the development of products and services to really bringing a sense of urgency to the fight against climate change. We've made a commitment to be net zero carbon by 2040. 10 years ahead of the Paris Agreement, which is quite significant at our scale, and invited others to do that with us, which I can talk about in a bit. But for me personally, I think it's both a history of growing up and loving the ocean and really enjoying nature, and then watching as the climate crisis has come with such force and urgency to our communities, to watch climate events come in such scale. I live in the United States on the West Coast. We've been experiencing fires and smoke all summer, really, into the fall, and watching it affect the health of our communities and wanting to have a more livable and healthier planet for future generations as well as that historical commitment. So I've been working in sustainability a very long time and across many different areas of public policy, and really have just attracted by now trying to bring everything we can bear with our technology, with our innovation, to advancing this fight very quickly and taking into account, human rights and the social responsibility aspects, and everything that we want in a healthier and more livable community. So excited to be here today and to share more.
Well, it's certainly great to have both of you here with us. Let me start the conversation a little bit more substantively. Your Highness, Sheikh Hashama, the UAE is unequivocally looked at not just as a regional leader in terms of net zero, but a global leader. And you clearly, as we just heard, have extensive experience thinking about climate change and working in this sector. Why are initiatives like the UAE's Independent Climate Change Accelerator so key and more important than ever at this time? What do you see this doing moving forward, and why is it such an important priority?
Thank you for your question. We're in the midst of the climate crisis, and as I mentioned earlier, this summer the UAE has seen flash floods, so it's closer to home than we think, and it's very daunting to think that one person can deal with this mammoth task alone. And so I believe that it's everyone's responsibility, and the UAE's Independent Climate Change Accelerators aims to bring the whole ecosystem together to advance solutions, to get commitments from the private sector, and to build the green economy.
Well, building on your efforts, both in the UAE but globally, I think we can look at Amazon and realize that, Kara, there's been impressive sustainability commitments from your company over the past few years. A lot of progress there. So, also, why is it so important to Amazon, that the climate initiatives and what we're accomplishing right now remain a key focus for the company, for AWS in this area?
Yeah, I think we're very committed to building a sustainable business. We're at Amazon what we call customer obsessed. And so we know we want to deliver innovation on behalf of our customers. And we also know this is what the planet needs, and we all benefit from healthier, more livable communities. So we've first taken this climate pledge, a commitment to be net zero carbon by 2040, and we opened that up as an invitation to others across many different industries to come together. We know we cannot do this alone. None of us can do this alone. It takes collaboration across industry, but also across sectors, with governments, with NGOs, multilaterals, academics, and so forth. So over the past, we make this commitment in 2019, and over the past several years, very pleased to see that call to action has been answered. So over 375 companies have now joined us in the Climate Pledge commitment, and that is across 51 different industries in 34 different countries. So that's a very global effort. We've also made commitments for our own company. We are committed to operating on 100% renewable energy by 2025. We pulled that up from our original date of 2030, and we're already 85% of the way there. We have products and services like our cloud computing business, Amazon Web Services, that we know that moving from on-premises to cloud computing is also a more sustainable way of operating, 5 times more efficient. We're looking at our transportation and saying, what can we do as a customer to send a demand signal to the transportation industry? So we ordered 100,000 electric delivery vans from a company called Rivian, and we've been deploying those already in cities in the United States. We've delivered over 100 million packages around the world in electric delivery vans of all different types. So we're really trying to transform our own operations to make those visible commitments, to send demand signals, and to bring industry together across all of the ways that we innovate in technology to hope that we can accelerate this fight against climate change.
Well, I really like this thread about applications. So it's not just us making commitments, but actually making change and accelerating it on the ground and in the company. Sheikh Ashama, there's clearly a thread of sustainability and technology in the UAE, and I'm really excited to see those innovations happening too, both within the country, but your leadership globally. Where do you see the next big opportunity for startups, for tech, coming out of the Emirates? And what's the big gap you want to see filled by these new exciting technology companies?
So firstly, there are many opportunities out there, but I'll focus on one, and then I'll speak about a real case example. So I believe that in the circular economy, there are a lot of opportunities. Today, only 8.6% of our world is circular. And what I mean by this is keeping resources for as long as possible within our economy. I've seen a few years ago in one of the UAE universities a young lady present an idea in her research that she can turn date pips into baby food formula. And so that's one idea and that people are exploring and that I'm very proud about, but a lot more needs to be done in this space, investment in R&D for the circular economy. Also, we need to look at business model innovation. How can we better use applications for the circular economy? So we've seen disruptive technologies like Airbnb and Uber revolutionize the way we do things. We need to see more of that. And then when you speak about an interesting tech, and this is a live case example, there was a facility in the UAE that was piloted a few years back, and it was an agri-tech venture. From a pilot project in Abu Dhabi, it expanded into a large project that is now supplying tomatoes, leafy greens, and many other types of vegetables. It's less carbon intensive because there's less of a ecological footprint. It's cheaper for the consumers. It's a lot more rich in nutrients because it's grown in the UAE, and it provides food security as well. And this project has now been scaled in Saudi, in Kuwait, and last week in Singapore. So I'm very proud to see initiatives like this start from the UAE and grow to other nations as well.
If I could do a quick follow-up question on this. You and I have had an opportunity to kind of discuss not only are you moving things forward, but you're making a business case for moving them forward, and that many of these climate technologies and new ventures really are economic. And I think that globally people don't realize that sometimes. Would you speak to just the business case and the business model for climate technology and companies?
So I'll give an example in the energy savings space. we've been involved in a project that retrofits buildings in the UAE. And I've seen how we've managed to reduce electricity and water, and it makes a great business case. So it's not just nice to have. They get a return on investment and an instant reduction in operational costs by doing this. And so it's much easier to get buy-in from companies and organizations to do this type of work when you focus on the business case. But also, it's good for the environment as well.
Well, Kara, I think Her Highness has really articulated that there are many opportunities out there, that there's new tech on the horizon. I want to talk to you and your outlook from AWS in terms of how we scale. So how are we helping startups drive new technologies to scale, address the complexities of the supply chain, et cetera? I know we announced today the Clean Energy Accelerator. Tell me about the program. What's happening here?
Yes, we're very excited about this opportunity and this announcement. As you all are aware, and we've just heard some terrific examples of this, everything from circular economy and materials innovation to building efficiency. There are many different technologies that are out there at a smaller scale that we need to bring attention to, and we need to scale. There's a critical gap in the technologies that need to scale up and need to exist for us to deploy to fight climate change. So we announced today the AWS, Amazon Web Services, Clean Energy Accelerator 3.0. We're very excited about this partnership. To date, this Clean Energy Accelerator model has already, over the last 18 months, influenced over $270 million in seed round funding. We have over 14 pilot kickoffs in the program, and we've attracted over 600 startups from 63 different countries. So it's really a highly scalable model that we're very excited to bring and launch today, and really plan over the next year and bring to the culmination in COP28. There's a number also of underrepresented founders who have incredible solutions that AWS technologies can help to deploy. So we want to provide that training, we want to provide that education, that connection to other entrepreneurs, really create that incredible community that can learn together in that accelerator model. And we can expand automation, we can deploy AI and machine learning and a number of different areas of expertise that we just want to lend that we have and create a community that can really learn together and scale. So it's a very, very exciting effort, and we're just grateful for the partnership.
Thinking and building on the thread of partnership, we're at COP. It is a diverse coalition of governments, industry, NGOs, all coming together. And I really want to dig in, just as we kind of bring this all together, on the importance of public-private partnership. I think we probably have a reflection of the COP community here in the audience. Can I turn to both of you and just a thought in terms of the importance of building broad coalitions, demonstrating leadership both from the corporate side, from the government side, I think corporate side here as well. Just what needs to be done to enable this clean energy transition and building those broad coalitions? Your Highness?
I believe coalitions are great because it encourages others to also join. And so for me, I'd like to see more private sector coalitions. And we know that governments have a role to play, but I believe it's everyone's responsibility to combat climate change.
Yeah, we're a big supporter of coalitions, and I think in particular, you can see the many wonderful things that are launching here at this COP, and that launched even last year, that progress is being reported on at this implementation COP. I think one of the important things, and this is just to go back to the Clean Energy Accelerator, many times folks who are on the ground in community have the best information and the solutions. They know best what their own communities need. And so bringing those voices in through models of collaboration and through partnerships, and that's across public, private sector, industry, government, again, but really also finding an avenue for local entrepreneurs, for indigenous peoples, for people in community to bring their solutions to bear is something that we're very passionate about. And so models like that Accelerator and coalitions that we're building in the Climate Pledge, partnering across regions, we really are open, I think all of us who are passionate about this area, to learning what's out there that people are coming up with that just needs a little bit of scale and help with technology and innovation to highlight those voices and bring them forward. So really excited to see what we'll do in the coming year. I certainly invite you, Your Highness, to come and see what's happening at the next COP. And I think there's so much that we can do together. So very excited about that.
Likewise. I just wanted to add one thing. I think it's imperative that youth are part of the conversation. And when I look at the Middle East, 70% of people are under the age of 30. And so including them in the conversation from the beginning is crucial.
To that end, I think I've had a conversation with some folks at AWS in terms of tech being an enabler for sustainable solutions. And Kara, I know we're getting close to wrapping up here, but just a quick note in terms of, how does tech allow you to reach such a broader coalition? You mentioned the cloud earlier. I think that goes to the idea of diversity and our ability to reach audiences and communities that perhaps wouldn't have this information readily available. I'm just really interested if you could build out that a little bit.
Absolutely. I think I want to really maybe pivot off your point about next generation and younger folks. I think people are anxious about climate. I know they're anxious about climate, and they're looking for solutions and looking at ways to participate in that. And technology, of course, is one of the ways, not the only way, but one of the very important ways that we're going to connect the next generation to that solution. So one of the things I'll just point to when we think about, we announced a new AWS Cloud Infrastructure region in the UAE. So that not only brings technology, but we're also going to train up younger people in how to work with technology. There's going to be billions of dollars of economic development that come as a result of those types of investments, which mean there is a flywheel effect of economic development, more jobs, more training, more education, an ability to participate in these solutions going forward, which I think people are very hungry to do. And so that whole kind of flywheel aspect of saying, we want to invest in scale and address the climate change, but we also want to create jobs and economic vitality and healthy communities, I think is a very compelling thing. And hopefully, as all of that goes forward, we'll see many more people coming forward and wanting to participate in that way. So exciting to kind of be at this point.
Well, I want to kind of allow us to conclude on this very hopeful note about tech's role as an enabler. And as we conclude this conversation, I just wanted to see if there are any closing words or thoughts that you really want to convey, especially as we go into what's inevitably going to be a very dynamic 2023 and lead up to the COP in Dubai in November, a year from now.
If I can leave the audience with one word of advice, it would be it is our collective duty to lead responsibly to create a better world for future generations. Thank you.
I think I would just leave by saying no idea is too small. I work for a company that did not exist 28 years ago and now has a major impact on the world. So in the time frame that we have, in the urgency that we need to move, I just want to leave, I guess, with a note to say that I'm inspired by this COP. I'm inspired by what's coming next, and already the forethought, the commitments we need to continue to deliver on. We need to continue to show progress, to be transparent and accountable, as you've mentioned before. But we also need to encourage ideas to come forward and youth to participate and sectors to collaborate. It's easier said than done. But it's absolutely critical and essential. And to think how fast we actually can move, powered by technology, is just so inspiring.
Well, I hope this conversation does compel that kind of thinking and that kind of horizon in terms of what tech can do to change the climate equation and get us to a pathway to net zero, both through Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week and on to COP28 next year. very excited to host both of you. Thank you for this dynamic conversation.
Thank you, Landon.
Thank-